Hey Tiff,
Hey, Aaron.
thanks for doing another phone podcast recording. Um,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
in Sunday school, you mentioned something that I thought we should kind of do a debrief on.
Okay.
I think these are your words. I think you said you had a meltdown. Do you want to explain?
Yeah, I shared with our class that a few weeks ago I had this like meltdown in front of the girls. Ray wasn't home, so it was just me and them. And I think it was this accumulation of like just being so overstimulated and like so exhausted from, I don't know, being a parent is just like making all these like snap decisions and boundaries being challenged. And I think I was just feeling that all at once. I was trying to make dinner, and both girls were just unhappy about something. One was upstairs, one was downstairs, and they were just like yelling and screaming at me.
Mm,
And I couldn't focus on what I wanted to do, which was just to cook. So I just kind of like lost it. Like I tried not to lose it at them because I know it was like I was losing control of my own emotions. So I turned away from Bethany, but I still let out this like crazy scream. Like they looked
mm.
at me like I was crazy, and I was like, "Oh my God, I'm stressed out right now, and I don't know what to do." And I just said this out loud to the air. I was like, I feel like I don't know what I'm doing, and nothing's working. And I just like burst into tears, and
Mm,
they were both just kind of like they just both stopped and stared at me.
mm, mm,
They've
mm,
never seen me like that
mm,
before.
mm.
Yeah.
And then you said you kind of composed yourself after the fact. Tell me what happened next.
I mean, I just kind of like proceeded to chop my veggies, but afterwards, I kind of like, regrounded myself, and I had to like have a debrief with them to just like process with them what they just witnessed in me.
Mm,
And I just shared with them that I felt really stressed out and overwhelmed. I don't think they fully understand that, but and I apologized to them
mm,
and shared with them like just what I was just feeling this like in my soul, this overstimulation of just like noise, in my
mm,
life. Not
mm,
just that moment just like escalated it, but I think, and I was just sharing how like sometimes I had lost control,
mm.
and sometimes that happens with our emotions. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tiff, as always, I thank you for sharing this with our Sunday school class and now on the podcast. Um, yeah, I mean, okay, so in context, the Sunday school lesson was about quiet time, right? We were talking about quiet time with God. We're doing like a unit on like the spiritual disciplines. And so
Yeah.
we wanted to talk about quiet time, spending time with God, getting away to actually just kind of rest and be in God's presence, primarily through his word, of course. Um,
Hmm. Hmm.
and so I think first off, I want to say thank you for sharing the honesty of I think young motherhood, young parenting. Yeah, I think I think that's it is raw, like it is
Yeah.
like this is real life, you and I are real people with
Yeah.
real families, real emotions, and we're just trying our best, and it's just really hard. And so at first I just want to, acknowledge that like, hey, you're doing a good job, and so yeah, thanks for doing that and being open with the class. And then I think for me, as a husband, I look at Jess and it's hard for me to see the day to day, right? Because I'm at work or whatever, and I'm assuming that Ray had to hear it from you too, right? Like just about what happened, right? And so yeah, I mean, I think that mothers are, I mean, not to be like sexist or anything, but like there is like a nurturing fact that comes with just being a mom, and so I appreciate that in you and in Jess and in all mothers in the entire
Yeah.
world. Yeah, but I I guess to get back on point, what we should be talking about is like, okay, do you think that there is a spiritual component involved in this? And you did say you apologized to your kids, right? So do you think there was a spiritual component to this? And like, how do you think it relates to the fact that you wanted to share this in your lesson about getting quiet time, and particularly with God? Like, have you been finding quiet time to rest and to spend time in God's word? And again, you can be honest. I mean, I'll be honest with you too. What do you want to say about that?
I think I had shared that with our class because I think there was definitely a spiritual component to that meltdown, which was a lack of quiet time, like true quiet time. And I think what I was hoping with the class to kind of challenge their thinking was that quiet time isn't just like being in a quiet space and like like it's beyond that. And I had several quotes that talked about how like there was one that really had struck me, which was like a refusal, I'm just paraphrasing, like a refusal for desiring like quiet time is really just saying like I can do this on my own. And I think I had, and it wasn't like a conscious like I'm not gonna do quiet time. It's just been this neglect. It was more like neglect. And I think I was just on overdrive of like I can do this myself, because it was a simple task that I've done all the time, like cooking. Ray's not home and the girls are playing. Like it's like a typical day. But I think it's just been on this momentum of like I'm doing it myself. I'm cooking. I'm using my own strength, without like slowing down and finding rest in the Lord. And I think it just burst in that moment of like, man, I think it was this like I have no control of something so simple. Like how can I not? And that was part of my emotion, like part of that reaction. And I think on the flip side, another quote I had the students kind of like ponder about was that like true like biblical quietness is acknowledging that we need the Lord. And I think that was the piece that without my quiet time, like I didn't have that, And I shared with the class, like I have lots of quietness. Like I wake up like over an hour before the whole family wakes up to, pack stuff. It's completely quiet at home. And yet like my soul isn't quiet in the sense that my mind is just like, okay, pack this, do this. I got to do this, get ready for this. And that's where and I started listening to like podcasts just to like be mindless, in that quietness. And I think just this lack of like this reliance on God and starting my day. And so just all of those little pieces that like it's not like a outright like I'm gonna resist this, but just like I said, like neglect, and you're just like grinding, each day is a grind and you just kind of forget. And that's kind of where I was. And it was this, I felt like it was this moment of like, oh gosh, like this is where it's gone to. And so I think it was perfect timing that then I had to prepare for our lesson on quiet time. And I was like, gosh, I feel like a hypocrite. Like I haven't had like a true quiet time. And I also shared with them too, like even after preparing this lesson, I'm like faced in the mornings of like, okay, I have my devotion and I have to like prep for, a training at work. Which one do I do? Like I need to prep, but I also should like kind of, like slow myself down and rely on God, even on something that I feel like I have a grip on, like it's just, there's that tension all the time of like, do I clean the house or do I sit down and be still before the Lord and find that peace and grounding? So that's kind of what I shared.
Yeah, no, I think it's really good. One thing that you said also was like, there's seasons, right? And I think that I think for you and I, we're in a very different season than what our students are in. But honestly, like they're going to be in busy seasons too, like they're on the brink of like, going to college and just needing to find ways to stay close and connected to God. And they're going to have to be able to quiet their own hearts during their busy seasons. A lot of things that also came up when I was discussing with the students was just like phone addiction, and like, and what you're saying, like, we fill our times with noise, and sometimes we need to be really intentional about making quiet, or being able to stop and pause and say, okay, can I listen to God during this time, or can I get into the Word even for a little bit? It's being intentional about that, and sometimes we can't like physically do it because our kids are present. But I think that's where the rest of the spiritual disciplines come in. Like we're going to talk about prayer. And we're going to talk about Bible memorization, and meditation. And so I think sometimes when we don't have like, this, let me sit down, let me have a cup of coffee, let me go into nature, for like an hour, right? Like you talked about like the retreat mode, right? Like if we cannot do that, then that's where these other spiritual disciplines come in. So I think I think this is a great first lesson, and I think I think that it was really I think it was really good, Tiff. Thank you for sharing all of it, and for also for pointing all of us to examine our own lives and to see where are we getting rest in Christ and in His Word, and even just physical rest too. I mean, we all need breaks too, just from all this stuff too. So yeah, Tiff, it was really good. Thanks for doing it.
Thanks, Aaron.
I'm looking forward to the rest of the lessons. You're doing which one are you doing? You're going to do prayer, right? Are you doing prayer, or am I doing prayer?
I'm doing prayer.
You're doing prayer. Okay, so I have Bible memorization, and then I think we're ending with fasting, right? So after all of this, it will be a good quick 4-power unit, and then we're going to go into after this we're doing what's it called?
Apologetics.
Yeah, apologetics. Yeah, so another busy season ahead of us, but I think it will be worth it. I really enjoyed teaching with you, Tiff. Thanks for being my co-teacher.